The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Clark County, Nevada, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 37848. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks on the passenger and driver side frame rail. 6,000 pounds direct pull only. Moving to the face of the front bumper, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Just inside that location, dual air horns located inside the frame rail. Unit identifier located in the center. Moving up onto the top of the extended bumper, you'll find mechanical siren located on the driver's side, an open tub well on the passenger side, additional tub well located in the center, both Velcro tie downs. Moving to the front cab face, you'll find on the outer edge a marker turn indicator light. Just inside that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam. High beam is located on the inside. Just above that is the emergency warning light cluster. There are 2 located on the passenger and driver's side. Directly behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find the hood latch release. There are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the outer edge, you'll find a mirror housing flat and convex mirrors. Moving up to the brow, 5 identification clearance lights. Located in the center is where you'll find your forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the cab roof is where you'll find your emergency warning lights and also Opticom. Let's take a look at the full view of the vehicle, and we'll move now and focus in on the cab section. First, starting at the wheel area, where you'll find in the axle area a visual sight gauge indicator, steel wheel, and Michelin tires. Moving now to the front bumper extension, where you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. To the A-pillar, a side-facing camera. Easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are your door lock and latch. They are keyed. Right next to that is where you'll find the grab handle for gaining in and out of the cab and maintaining 3 points of contact. As we move just to the rear of that location, you'll find a digital push button pad. This is your entry lock system. Right next to that, you'll find your shoreline inlet and also unit identifier. As we move up to the very top, you'll find a side-facing scene light. Moving toward the rear is where you'll find a LED water tank level indicator, and then down at the bottom, you'll find a emergency warning light. This is part of your lower emergency warning light zone. Moving now to the body section, in front and rear of the rear axle is where you'll find folding wheel chock storage locations. In front of the axle, marker turn indicator light. There are 2 storage locations located here, one in front and one in the rear of the axle. We'll take a look at those in just a few moments, along with an emergency warning light over the rear axle. As we move toward the top section of the body, in the hatch area is where you'll find emergency warning lights side-facing, and then you'll also find at the rear of the apparatus side-facing scene light. Moving now around to the rear of the apparatus, we'll find at the very bottom section your vehicle is equipped with a tow hitch. We'll go over those specifications. Also, starting at the top, brake, turn, and reverse light. Just inside that location, lower zone emergency warning light. As we move to the driver's side of the vehicle, you'll find your access ladder, which does extend downward and pull outward. You'll also find at the very top emergency warning lights, both on the passenger and driver's side. Moving now to the 2.5-inch rear discharges located here. Just inside that location, you'll find a recessed backup camera, and then just above that, you'll find your traffic advisor. Moving to the right, you'll find a wedge. This is the location for your supply line connection. Moving further to the right, D-handle gains you access to your ladder storage location. Further up, an additional storage location where you'll find your pike poles and also 10-foot folding ladder. All the way to the very top, you'll find a recessed rear-facing scene light. And moving all the way to the very top, emergency warning light. Let's move around now to the passenger side. Just a few items here I'd like to point out. First, starting just in front of the rear axle is where you'll find your exhaust. And then moving all the way to the very top, you'll find the booster line location where you'll find the nozzle clip area. Moving to the front cab area, you'll find a side-facing camera on the A-pillar. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of those items we just talked about. First, starting with the front bumper extension. Storage location for supply line. Moving toward the center is where we'll find a swivel discharge Velcro tie down. This is part of the front discharge, which is also foam capable. As we move now to the grille, this is the location where you'll find the latch for gaining access into the hood area. Once it's been opened, we'll start on the passenger side where your fill location is for your windshield wiper fluid. Moving over to the driver's side, you'll find the recovery location for your coolant. On the rear cab wall, you'll find a placard indicating instructions for raising the cab and also lowering the cab. This is a hidden switch for your door locks. Moving to the right, you have a push button for activation of the cab tilt and then also a selector location for raise or lower. To the very far right, you'll find your power steering reservoir and also sight gauge. Moving now, let's go inside the cab area. When the door is open, the steps will auto deploy. We'll start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the information regarding your vehicle. Also, safety and warning placard information are affixed to the door panel. Combination door latch and lock. Moving further up, you'll find electric window controls for all 4 cab windows. Let's move just inside the cab area. First, starting with the steps auto deployed, and then moving just inside the cab now, where you'll find at the base of the seat, when plugged into Shoreline Power, the auto charge system will activate, indicating battery status. Moving to the floor area is where you'll find the mechanical siren foot pedal for activation of the EQ2B. Starting on the upper left in green, you'll find the engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port. To the right, tech module and display module. Down at the bottom, you'll find switches moving from left to right for ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit. Moving now to about the right ankle of the driver position, you'll find your maintenance fluid capacity information placard. Now moving to the dash on the left, you'll find your hazard start ignition. Moving just inside that location, EM, which stands for emergency master, switches on all emergency lights or off, headlight switch, and a panel switch allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the driver. Starting on the left-hand side is where you'll find your transmission, oil, and def level, water temp gauges. Moving to the right, you'll find volts, fuel, front air, and rear air. Located in the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information regarding your vehicle will display above the speedometer and tachometer and also below, in addition to a display screen in between the two of those. General view here, looking to the right of the driver's seat. Let's start first with the yellow diamond. It is the pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. These are the rear spring brakes. You'll also find your command zone located in the very front section. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. It is also a touch screen and also function button. To the right, Allison transmission pad, informational note to pump in neutral. As we move to the top, you'll find the air horn, siren brake, and mirror heat. Also front flood, driver's flood, passenger flood, and rear scene lights. Moving further down to the toggle switches, you'll find engine brake on and off, a setting switch for low, medium, and high, push to talk, stationary OK to pump and roll, water pump, and foam system switches. Moving to the right, perimeter lights, electronic siren, and load manager. As we move to the very top section, you'll find your mirror controls for the flat and convex mirror for both passenger and driver. Just forward of those locations where you'll find climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Moving now overhead, where you'll find the yellow placard located on the left-hand side. This is the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 5 inches, length of the vehicle, 33 feet 0 inches, gross vehicle weight rating, 49,800 pounds. If you make any changes to the vehicle, they may alter any of these. Please update this placard for the operator. Let's move just to the right where you'll find switch panels, starting with the emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning. Just down from that, the lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and opticom. When any of the switches have been activated, the light will illuminate in the outer edge of the bezel. Moving just to the right, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker module. Moving further to the right, you'll find your traffic advisor. Also, you'll find this placard indicating spare wiring behind. Please do not remove until your maintenance team's had an opportunity to review that. Also, AM/FM weather band radio. As we move to the center, just to the rear of the windshield areas where you'll find the Haas system. This is the traffic advisory Waze app module. Moving just to the rear, you'll find seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green in the seat and belted. If this light is flashing, it's indicating do not move your apparatus. You may have a compartment door open or ajar. Air conditioning located in the very center roof area. General view here of the full cab on the inside. And then let's move to the exterior. First, starting right next to the grab handle is where you'll find a combination electric door lock, 20 amp shoreline indicator with green illuminating light when plugged in and receiving power, and then right next to it, unit identifier. As we move down to the axle, you'll find Michelin tires, a steel wheel, and also visual sight gauge indicator in the center of the axle. We'll move now to the rear section of the cab. First, starting with the door panel, a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, electric window control, door lock and latch combination, and a grab handle. Once again, when the door is automatically opened, the step will auto deploy. Now moving to the inside of the cab area, push on and off red or white lens lights at the ceiling level. You also find directly behind the driver's seat your cradle point. Moving overhead of the driver's seat to the rear portion, additional storage with 12-volt access located within each of these compartments. There's one both on the passenger side and also one on the driver's side. In the very center, you'll find an additional storage location with netting. On the very top, 12-volt access. Down to the very bottom is where you'll find lift and turn latch will gain you access into the rear portion of the engine for your daily checks for oil and transmission. Now moving over to the passenger side, directly behind the officer seat, additional storage at roof height. Also 12-volt access inside this compartment via USB. As we move directly behind the officer seat, this is the location for your main radio system. And then as we move to the rear wall, you'll find forward-facing seats and also David Clark headset system. Let's move now to the exterior, starting first at the forward section behind the cab area where you'll find your crosslays were located. Would like to point out a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. To the right, the 2.5-inch discharge. This is the release mechanism for the tray. Just below that, you'll find two discharges. These are both 1 3/4 inch. They are also foam capable. Let's move now to the notch section of the puck, and we'll start first in the upper left-hand corner with two 2.5-inch discharges. These are locally controlled via a ball valve. Also a warning placard here indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move just to the right, you'll find the main inlet. This is on the driver's side. And then moving further to the right, we'll find your auxiliary foam function inlet. Just down from that, a warning placard indicating foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. To the right, warning hazard. When climbing on and off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Just below that, you'll find an air inlet to truck air. And then below that is where we're going to find the additional 2.5-inch discharge, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains, and also the driver's side auxiliary inlet, locally controlled via a ball valve, female inlet. Just at the very bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Also, the step area does fold outward. It is tied to the do not move your apparatus. As we move now into the first compartment in the body section, we'll start in the very top section on the far left. First, at the top, you'll find an OK to pump. If you've engaged your pump properly inside by activating the switch, that light will be illuminating. Also, we have an audible speaker here with volume control on it. Moving just to the right, that's tied to your main radio. Also to the right, you'll find a foam A tank, that's the green module. Master intake gauge on the left in the gray module, and master discharge gauge on the right. In between the two of those are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move to the right, you'll find a visual indicator and audible speaker for the PCM fault. Let's move just down where you'll find all of our discharges. They're color-coded, labeled. Red is indicating that the discharge is foam capable, and then to the right, pressure throttle governor. Recirculating line, that's a twist, not a pull. Tank fill, tank to pump, and then also deluge discharge. Moving further to the right in the red module, this is your Husky foam system module. To the right, driver rear discharge A. And then moving to the very far right, you'll find the fire pump primer. It is a push to prime air prime, at least 1,000 RPMs when in priming mode for best practices. There are two electronic valves on the passenger side. This is the control modules for those two. And then also a Husky 12 foam system specification and instructions. Let's move further down on the pump panel. Starting on the left, we have an intake relief valve. There are instructions for its operation on the placard itself, and then all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the pan door area, behind that is the panel area. You'll find the yellow handle. There are instructions for its operation. This is for foam fill or operations. Also, just below that, manual pump shift override. It's the protected switch behind the panel. Moving now to the left vertical wall, you'll find an air horn and also driver's side scene light activation. To the vertical wall, you'll find a warning placard indicating only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. And then also your minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi, with the associated GPM and RPM on the test plaque. In each of the compartments, you're going to find shoreline outlets. These are operational when plugged into shoreline power. Just inside the compartment next to the pump panel, you'll find a pull-out compartment storage location. Over wheel compartment, let's start in this area first. In front of the rear axle, you'll find 3 SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining straps. To the rear axle, 12R tires, Michelin, and also a steel wheel. Moving to the rear of the axle, SCBA bottle storage for 1 bottle, Ultra Loso for diesel fill location, silver cap, exposing the blue cap to the 4.5 US gallon DEF fill location. We'll continue to move just to the rear of the apparatus to the next compartment, adjustable tray, and then at the very bottom section we have a pull-out floor-mounted tray. Release mechanism is located on the lower hand right of the slide. Full view now of all compartments open. And we'll move around now to the rear of the apparatus and work through some of the items within this area. First, start with your ladder deployed. We'd like to point out a warning: fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and then also fall hazard when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. We do have a traffic advisor located recessed along with a backup camera and also 2 discharges on the left-hand side. As we move to the lower compartment, adjustable shelves and a pull-out tray in the lower portion, release located on the lower right, 12-volt access via barrel style on the right-hand side inside the compartment. Let's move over to the driver's side at the very top section near the hose bed area, where you'll find additional storage for long-handled tools, rubbish hook, and also pike pole, 10-foot folding ladder. Just down from that, 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof. Also below that, rear scene lights and hose bed lights. And then further down from this location, we have an identifier here for your trailer tongue and hitch weight capacities. To the very bottom, left and right side 12-volt access, and also the trailer hitch in the center. Moving around now to the passenger side, adjustable shelves in the upper portion, LED lighting, and also dry deck material in the lower portion. As we move to the middle compartment, let's start just in front of the rear axle where you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles, in addition with a fill location, ultra low sulfur diesel. Moving just to the rear of the rear axle is where you're going to find the exhaust location. This is just in front of the rear axle, but just above that you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles, in addition with an oxygen bottle storage. Just as a reminder, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operations. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move into the next compartment, this is the forward compartment, 12-volt access in the compartment. Little giant ladder located in the front bulkhead, and then also SCBA bottle storage for your air packs will be located in this space. Let's move to the very top section where you'll have your booster line coming past through the side sheet, in addition with a location for the nozzle. Reel rewind push button at the bottom of the rail handrail. We're now into the mid section where we have the cross lays. Once again at the top, 2.5-inch discharge. Warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. At the bottom, 2 1.75-inch discharges. The physical orifice is going to be 1.5 inches. As we move down into the notch area, we'll start at the very top with a warning placard indicating fall hazard. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. We do have a water strainer located here. Moving further to the right, the passenger side scene light switch, and then also large diameter passenger side pump inlet. Moving to the right, once again, passenger side scene light switch, warning placard indicating pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure, be cautious. The valves located on this side are all electronically controlled, requiring an override in case there's failure of the electronic valve. The override and also the 2.5-inch located on this side, along with a passenger side auxiliary inlet, 2.5-inch locally controlled via ball valve, female inlet. All of our color-coded labeled discharge drains across the very bottom section. Also, the large diameter discharge is an electric valve, therefore requiring an override for that electric valve. Also tied to the do not move your apparatus, the extension located here in the lower section. Let's move inside to the rear section of the cab next, starting first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, combination door lock and latch, window control, and also grab handle. Overhead, AM/FM radio speakers, and also push on and off white or red lens lights at the roof level. Unit identifier, and then also the combination push pad. Michelin tires, steel wheel, and then also a visual sight gauge into the center of that axle. We're now into the officer space. We'll go ahead and identify a few items within this area. First, starting with the door panel, a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, electric window control, and a grab handle. Your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system and airbag. This is the placard indicating that, and this is the location where the airbag is stored. As we move to the left of the officer seat, you'll find the radio push to talk. Also 12-volt access via USB. Overhead push on and off red or white lens lights. Also to the outer edge, this is where you'll find your unit radio control module. Siren brake, air horn, front flood, and passenger side flood switches. Storage location, and then also a digital pump pressure, water tank level indicator, and also foam tank level indicator. All compartments open now on the passenger side. Let's go ahead and move to the top side. This vehicle has 4 hatch compartments, 2 on the right and 2 on the left-hand side. As we move toward the front section of the cab area, this is a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these warning placards indicating that this is a non-walking surface. Also, as we move inside to the dunnage area, this is the location for your booster reel, also your Husky foam system, and also master stream device. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few of those. This is your booster line here. There is a push button on the top side, also manual rewind, and also free tension spool handle. Husky 12 reservoir, visual sight gauge on the front of it, and then also a lower section on-off valve in the lower portion for draining the tank. As we move into the hatch compartments, LED lighting, dry deck material inside each of those compartments. Also on the top section of the vehicle, you'll find yellow diamonds indicating the edge of the walking surface. Forward of this location in the cross area, you'll find your water tank fill location for top fill, and then also the top fill location for your foam tank class A. We do have a warning placard here indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Moving to the rear storage location, we do have hose dividers. They are movable or adjustable. And then here just a general view. There are currently 3. The next set of images are that of the chassis with the cab tilted. Let's start first as we move around to the driver's side. This is a 6,000 pound direct pull, not intended for towing. Moving now just some general chassis photos. I would like to point out when you're tilting the cab, make sure that you place the safety bar into position once the cab is fully tilted. Do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure on both left and right cylinders. Your vehicle is equipped with TAC 4, which is a 300% ride improvement for your front suspension. Moving now to the rear portion of the frame rails, battery box. Just underneath the battery box is where you'll find your negative and positive jumper studs. Also, you'll find to the rear of the battery box, you'll find the hydraulic reservoir for the cab lift reservoir. From this point going on, there'll be no additional audio. Next, I'll have a short video with your emergency warning lights on and also scene lights on. Congratulations, Clark County, Nevada, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37848. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.